Good for you news. Get your daily dose. Okay, hello. This is Diana Ruiz at the Good for You News podcast. And again, this is the place where you can get your dose of good news that's good for you. Studies show that hearing good news, inspiring things, actually increases your immune power, your brain power, your natural rejuvenation. So this is your place to get your dose of good news for the day. Our guest today has a BA from Seattle Pacific University, is a hypnotherapist, ordained minister that writes and officiates weddings and funerals, has a wonderful husband and 3 children, and an amazing son-in-law and grandson. She is also the creator of the Soul Power Experience, which is a 3 to 12 session transformational program that helps remove blocks to love, success at the subconscious level so that you can transform your past, present, and future life stories. So welcome, Dani Green. Thank you for coming and sharing your vision and what you do. What is on your heart today? What is the message that you would like to share today on the Good For You News podcast?
Well, the reason I wrote the Soul Power Experience is I had a transformational soul experience back in October of 2013. So I've been living from the power of my soul and what that means to me. And that's what I want to share with your listeners today so that they will know that they're okay. No matter what is going on in society, with our health, our loved ones, our family, and even within ourselves, we can be assured that we are okay and we're going to be okay. So that is the message I want to share that has continued to sustain me, all these years, and especially during this time.
We can get the rug pulled out emotionally and spiritually from underneath us. I know I've experienced that myself, and I have to daily regroup and come back to center. So when you said you had a transformational experience, what can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I was a pastor at the time, and I was feeling upset about things in my life. And a friend of mine suggested I read a book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And I listened to everything on Audible. And I want to read to you the actual words from his book that transformed my life. And I suddenly knew I was okay. So he says, the part we create from can't be touched by anything our parents did or society did. The part we create from, that part is far deeper and stronger. That part is unsullied, uncorrupted, soundproof, waterproof, and bulletproof. And I realized there's a part inside of me that is powerful and strong and okay. And it literally shifted my psyche. And I knew that I have had, in that moment, I knew that I have connection to divine source. I always will, and I always have, and nothing can change that. And then as that story continued, I resigned from my church job a year later because God said I could. And then we were going to India for our daughter's wedding. And I asked my new son-in-law to be, how do I greet my new family in India? And he said, namaste. And I didn't even know what that meant. And he said, the divine in me celebrates or greets the divine in you. And I thought, that is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. And then I recognized the divinity of all people on the planet, as though we became this human family and we're just connected spiritually. And it literally revolutionized how I viewed my faith and the world. And then when I came back from India, I listened to another book called The Science of Being Great by Wallace Wattles. And Wallace Wattles was a pastor, but he became excommunicated from the church because his thinking was more broad than they were thinking. And so, which I thought, that's my tribe. And so anyway, because that's what had just happened to me, but that's an entirely different story. But in that book, The Science of Being Great, he said, obey your soul. And I literally shouted, I knew it. I've always known it, but I never gave myself permission to obey my soul because I was always looking for truth outside of myself. And so I just kept asking God what that means. And then I came up with a concept of light, that our bodies are filled with light. And, Jesus said, you are the light of the world. And so that made sense to me. And I studied that we have biophotons in our body. We literally are made of light energy. So that's one of the meditations I do, just recognizing your soul within your body and letting that soul presence, essence, fill your body with healing light. And I wanted to share that with your listeners. So if they're stressed out about their health or their immune system, which you speak about, just close your eyes and imagine your body filled with healing light and that light extending to the space around you. And so that's one of the meditations I do. And then that we can imagine love being poured into our life, flowing toward us and for us, almost as sure as the air we breathe. And then let that flow through us to others. And so I have a meditation that I do in the morning, and I'll just do it for you right now since we're on the subject. I literally put my arms in a heart in front of me, and then I just like send love. And I stand in a circle for several minutes, just turning in a circle, just sending love and strength from my heart to the whole world. And that's been my prayer, especially during COVID, because when you read all the stories online and on Facebook of the suffering of families, what can we do but, send love and strength their way? And then I realized that our soul also gives us power to do good in the world, and that's actually why we're here, to do good for one another. And so we have the power to do that with our soul. And then the last part is wisdom to find the purpose of what is currently happening in our life, maybe the reasons why, or trusting that there is a reason why, and then wisdom for the next best step. And so those are just some of my meditations that I use in my own thinking regarding the truth of my own soul. And then there's more.
That's just, when you're explaining that, it just really makes me feel calm, when you're explaining that and talking about the light. I have a couple technical questions and things like that on, but then a general question. So first question is, when you're envisioning light coming from within, is it like expanding from your heart? Do you see it expanding from your heart, or what are you seeing, and where does that begin?
Yes, and so it's really up to the individual. And I have this exact guided meditation on my website as a free resource. People can click on it. Okay. But I literally envision my soul at the cellular level, even through my entire body, radiating from there, because I want all my organs and every part of my body affected by my soul light. Some people, though, see their soul as more surrounding their heart, or if you study the subject, that's often where it is. But it can be wherever you imagine it to be, because really our mind believes the story we tell it. And so if we can imagine our soul as within our body and radiating light, just whatever comes to you is truth for you.
Well, I can feel your soul. I can feel your soul from way over here, even though you're way over there. I can feel that soul. And I'm sure that our listeners can feel your soul too. So it's a very, very powerful thing to be able to be in touch with that part of yourself. So, learning, and I highly recommend Dani's course and things that she has, because it will actually help you get in touch with your soul, and that's the most powerful thing. No matter what's going on around you, the most impactful thing that we can do in our own lives. And I know we want to help. I know everybody who's out there right now has a good heart. I believe everybody, even though they might disagree on things, I think they agree on, hey, we want a world that feels good to be in. We want a world that feels comfortable and is kind and compassionate, and it's the whole world, and we're just us, and we can feel like, oh, I'm just a tiny little person. What can I do? But getting in touch with your soul and sending it out like that, that's real and that's powerful. And I can feel it from all the way over here. So that's a very powerful thing. So the other thing was when the light comes in, and I know you've got it on. I know you've got it on your video, and I do highly recommend that you guys go on to. What is your website? Let's get that out of the way.
It's www.danigreen.today. That's DANI Green.today. And the reason I ended my website with the word today is we just have today to make decisions about our future. So contact Dani Green and I'll help.
That's so perfect, because this morning I was thinking, the way our body is, the nervousness and the fear, it wants to jump to the future. And if I have to rein myself in daily, I have to rein myself in. We're here now. And this morning when I woke up, I always have this quiet time before I get out of bed. The message came to me that, all you have to worry about, Diana, is right now. Right now. What's going on right now? Well, I'm in a very comfortable bed, and I have a wonderful cat that's sleeping next to me, and I have food to eat when I get upstairs. And it's going to be different for everybody, but the power is in the moment. And the wonderful thing about your exercise is that it gets you into the present moment, in touch with your soul. And talking about a soul, really, it's not part of our everyday conversation, because you can't see it. I definitely feel it. Now it's very, very palpable to me, but it's not something that we can taste, touch and things like that. So I think this conversation is very important for that reason, is just to remind, yes, we do have this other aspect to ourselves, the most important aspect, actually, especially in times like these, to be in contact with. So let's see. Is there anything else that's popped up for you as I was talking?
Well, there's just two more concepts about soul that I want your listeners to know. First of all, on my 2-page written guided meditation that's on my website, there are more than 40 words representing soul. So when you're saying it's hard to, figure out what your soul means because we can't taste or touch it, it's actually in conversation all over the place. When you read this list of soul words, you're like, oh, I've heard that. I didn't know that was my soul. Our essence and who we truly are. And there's just so many words. So that helps kind of define what soul means. Also, I have a concept now that we have eternal soul, which is what we've been talking about, which is our divine connection with source, that there's nothing that can break that connection. What I want people to know, that we have always been connected to God, and we always will be. That's the eternal soul that we're talking about. But there's another part of us called our evolving soul, the part of us that suffers with us in this lifetime and doing life on this planet. And that part is the part that we get to kind of improve as we learn and grow and become more wise and strong and develop abilities to handle life better than we did the day before. And so that's and God's in that too. The evolving soul, some people call it an ego, but I think an ego gets kind of some negative connotations. And so I like to call it our evolving soul. We are 99.99999% spirit and space in all of the cells of our body. And so if I were to put the matter of my body, I could put it in my hand, the actual matter. But we're mostly spirit, which proves that I call our spirit the spirit of our own soul. And so we are mostly soul anyway. And so when we can learn to do life from this level, then if you go to church and follow a particular religion, you're sure about it in a new way. And if you don't, you're also sure about God's, love and care for you, provision and abundance for you. So it's just a win-win.
So, I noticed that the name of your program is Experience, and really it is that experience. Like, I'm experiencing how you are, your essence. I'm experiencing your essence, and And I think that's, somebody can tell you about it. Somebody can say, oh, this is what it feels like for me. But it's actually experiencing your own soul. And that's what your downloads do. They walk you through an experience. Is that what it is?
When I wrote the soul power experience, and the reason I used that word experience, I'm glad you caught that, is that in hypnotherapy, people can experience, removing those limiting beliefs and blocks, experience their own truth. After session, we journal what this client discovered about themselves, and you literally walk away with a list of new words, new perceptions, and new mantras that you can take into your life. And so that is what the soul power experience is.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so I have a question for you, just, something that we can like do today. I mean, how do you go through your day? How do you pull all of this into your day? Well, like when you wake up, what's a routine that gets you started? And do you have to do it a couple times a day to reset? Is it so automatic that you're just constantly resetting, or tuning in, or what are some best practices for us once we listen to your download and learn how to do that and get connected? How can we move forward from there?
I have one of my lessons is called Real Life, one of my sessions, and it's literally acknowledging how you're feeling today and all the emotions and feelings you currently have, then moving those feelings into your heart and perhaps getting a more grounded or true perspective, and then moving that into the just above your head into a spiritual center and becoming even more global and grounded in that. And so I like to focus on what I'm feeling, truly feeling, because we do have to acknowledge our feelings. You have to wrestle with currently feeling, especially now. But God has it that there's always a better, just a slightly higher vibration or energy level of thinking, maybe more positively or with more wisdom or clarity. Gratitude. I know gratitude's big for both of us, just being grateful for what we currently have. And then you move that thought into even a higher level of thinking. And so that's just one practice. That's like my on the move meditation that I do throughout the day. And in this season, with the suffering that I see in the world, I just say, look, I'm okay. My family's okay, and everyone's going to be okay. I have to just go back to that solid ground of I'm okay is my really safe place. One soul word is home. I'm home in my own soul. And yeah, so there's a lot of everyday meditations I do. And the other one in my I am lesson, it's just appreciating your body, literally speaking to your mind. Like I will say, calm mind, rather than just using the word calm. If my thoughts are racing, I identify a body area that I want to have be calm. Or I can identify a body area, just say, thank you, heart. Oh, you did such a good job today taking care of me, and just appreciating your body. There's a lot of positive things we can do to get through our day.
Yeah, and then the option is to just kind of white knuckle it and just I know how it feels when my mind gets to go and it doesn't feel good. So thank you for those tools. I mean, those are very simple, very practical things that you can do. You don't have to, be a guru or anything to accomplish them. So I really like that calm mind. And I know in my own practice, I use words like relax, and I'm open to relaxing. Your body is I find very susceptible to words like calm and relax. So if we can get into the habit of just saying those things, that's fantastic. And I really love that you were mentioning gratitude. And people might think, well, what in the heck is there to be grateful for? We can get in a frame of mind where we're so externally focused that it just, when you look at everything, it's like, what is there to be grateful about? And it takes a turn inward to find that gratitude. And why become grateful, or why find something? Because I'm going to answer that. Because when our body has a challenge that we're dealing with, and we offered a negative thought and a positive thought, the positive thought is actually stickier to your brain. But unfortunately, when we're having a huge challenge, and we rarely offer the positive thought, it's always bad and getting worse. So when you stop, like you said, when you stop and say, calm mind, well, all of a sudden you're interjecting a positive thought in a not so positive or enjoyable situation, and your brain is just really geared to tune into that whenever it's offered. And the interesting thing is that once you offer that word to your brain, it starts building new neural networks around it. So if you say calm and relax, calm mind, pretty soon that gets strong. If you spend maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds just kind of breathing and saying that thing. Another thing about your brain is it cannot be positiving and negativing at the same time. It has to choose one. And now that it has this good, calm, supportive idea of calm and relax, it actually sheds the neural networks that had to do with the worry and the panic associated to that situation that you found those words for. And we want to feel calm. Our body loves to feel calm and loves to feel relaxed. It opens up our brain, our left and right side, creative logic. It gets that percolating and opens up our circulation and boosts our immune system. Our body just really thrives when we use those words, when we feel those feelings. And our body thrives. I know this much, Dani, is that our body thrives when we are in connection with our soul, for sure, because those are all good feelings. And you just bring such a beautiful message, a very, very needed message here today. So I thank you for that. Is there any final words of wisdom you can leave with the listeners for today?
Well, I would want to explain my final session in the Soul Power Experience is called Bliss, because I was just praying. It's like, well, what would I want my clients to walk away with when they've been with me for these 12 sessions? And the word bliss, I added 2 B's, and it means breathe. So that's the first step to anything, is just stop and breathe. Focus on your breath. It's really good for your body, as you well know. But the rest of bliss is believe life is simple and satisfying. And so we can go through life, and it gets very, very, very complicated as we try to figure everything out for ourselves. But we can just breathe and believe that there's a simpler way to think about this. And also to live satisfied means that we're kind of satisfied with what is. We accept the joy and the struggle and the challenge at the same time, because we really can't change what currently is happening, but we can certainly change our perspective about it. And so that's just another way of doing life. And to believe life is simple is just going back to those eternal things that make a lot more difference in our life. Love, joy, peace, patience, the gratitude, like we're talking about. Just turning your mind to anything like that makes the rest of our life seem simple, and being grateful for the simple things we have that we sometimes don't remember. Like, I'm so grateful for my health and a roof over my head right now. So just finding simple things to be grateful for.
I wanted to tell a story really quickly of Viktor Frankl. He is a survivor of the Holocaust and a psychiatrist as well. And he was working with his patients, his clients and things like that. But a good friend of his wife passed away. And, grief is very, very intense stress and very hard on the system. it can compromise the health. And Viktor Frankl knew that he needed to ask the right question to help his friend find something to be grateful for in something, as horrible as, your loved one of 60 years passing away. And so he asked him one day, he said, "What would have happened if you would have passed first?" And his friend thought for a moment, and he said, "No." Knowing his wife was had such a sensitive heart, he knew that she would have suffered hundreds of times more than he. And so in that moment, he was grateful that she was spared what he was having to go through.
Wow.
Right? And so his health returned because that's how powerful gratitude is. That's how powerful gratitude is. When you find something that is sincerely, you're grateful for it, and it makes sense. Oh yes, she doesn't have to go through. I'm so glad, and then health returns. And so the more the world makes you feel, the more the world makes us feel powerless and frustrated or angry, the more important for our own health it is to find something in there to be grateful for. Because like you said, it's not about changing external circumstances. It's about changing the internal perspective so that you can have health, so that you can have a strong immune system, so that your body functions, so you can come up with the ideas and the creativity that will actually change what you're looking at. And that's what this program is, and that's what this podcast is all about, is finding that internal perspective. And your program is going to be amazing at helping people to access that inner calm, because creative, and I heard today, last night on a podcast, innovative. We need creative and innovative ideas to make a change in our health, in our finances, in our business, in the community, in our families, in our world. And that is the purpose of this podcast. So you tune in to listen to beautiful people like Dani Green talk about soul power, and you call it soul power because it's power. Power, it comes from within. It does not come from external forces. It comes from within. And once you tap into that power is felt globally. That is felt globally. So if you want to impact the world, get in touch with your soul. Go onto Dani's site and find out what she has. Download those freebies so that you can get into access internal power, so you can access your internal power, so you can make the difference in your life, so you can make a difference in the world that you really want to make. So, all right, thank you, Dani, for sharing all of your beauty and all of your soul power with us today. And thank you for tuning in for your daily dose of good news here on Good For You News. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Namaste.
Good For You News. Get your daily dose.